Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the Daily Trust. The major story here says, federal government to replace striking doctors with ad hoc staff. Federal government to replace striking doctors with ad hoc staff. Some riders now, our demands must be met. Patients groan, activities grounded in hospitals. You'll find all the details on the front page of the Daily Trust. To this Nigerian newspaper now. Labour Party crisis festers as factions clash in court. Tribunal fails to recognize acting chairman Apapa. Obi Aburi-sponsored thugs against me in court, says embattled chair. All the details on the front page of this Nigerian newspaper. To the First News newspaper now. Labour Party crisis. How obedience almost killed me in court. Apapa speaking. As party supporters engage in free-for-all, boo mob factional chairman at Elections Petitions Tribunal. Factional chair denies collecting 500 million naira to scuttle Obi's petition against Tinubu. Accuses Labour Party presidential flag bearer of lying. All the details on the front page of the First News newspaper. To the Blueprint newspaper now, at Tribunal. Live broadcast of proceedings, abuse of court process. Tinubu speaking, says court not a soap opera. Labour Party's factional chair Apapa Aburi's supporters clash in court. Tribunal adjourns Obi's case to Friday. Details on the front page of the Blueprint. To the Punch newspaper now, PDP, Labour Party kick as U.S. Secretary of State calls Tinubu. U.S. promises continued comprehensive security economic cooperation. Atiku, Labour Party berate Blinken, say phone call demoralizing, worrisome. Mike.
All right, I have Nigerian News Direct here. That's where we're starting from on this side. Opposition kicks as U.S. other world powers extend fellowship pledge to Tinubu, right? Opposition kicks as U.S. other world powers extend fellowship pledge to Tinubu. And the Secretary of State, Blinken, calls Tinubu begins collaboration talks, all right? I mean, disbelief. Blinken's call acknowledgement of fraudulent election. Atiku cries. The APC ought to have presented Oshibajo. Obi is quoted as saying this. Storms court to suit to stop Tinubu. All right, that's the News Direct in there. And then Nigerian Tribune is next, and it says U.S. Secretary of State Tinubu in 20 minutes phone call. Atiku expresses disbelief. U.S. Secretary of State Tinubu in 20 minutes phone call. Atiku expresses disbelief. Okay. And Blinken advises on inclusive leadership, stresses U.S.-Nigeria partnership, and Tinubu wants assistance on security economic investment. This is inconceivable, a contradiction to give legitimacy to widely acknowledged fraudulent election demoralizing to citizens. Atiku is quoted as saying this. All this on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. The Nation newspaper. Expect institutional reforms, Tinubu promises Nigerians. All right, and U.S. Secretary of State calls President-elect on phone. Keyamo chides fuming Atiku for criticizing Blinken's actions. All right, you see this on the front page of the Nation newspaper. And from there, let's go to the Guardian newspaper now. Guardian says that the battle in states as 18 ministers lobby Tinubu to retain portfolio. Battle in states as 18 ministers lobby Tinubu to retain portfolio. That's what the Guardian has in there. From there, let's go to Business Day. Business Day says Buhari's 11th hour economic decisions seen cornering Tinubu. All right? Buhari's 11th hour economic decisions seen cornering Tinubu. That's what Business Day has. And from there, let's go to Leadership newspaper. Leadership says Nigeria heading for debt crisis, governors warn. Nigeria heading for debt crisis, governors warn. I say debt servicing taking 95% of revenue as PNB seeks reps approval for $800 million World Bank loan. Okay, that's what the Leadership newspaper has. And Daily Times is the last one we're looking at now, and it says a PEPC drama, as the Presidential Election Petition Court, or Tribunal, as you may put it. Lamidi Apapa escapes being lynched at Obi's petition hearing, denies receiving 500 million naira to scuttle Labour Party suit. All right, that's what you have, Veronica.
All right, Mike, let's quickly look at this story that seemed to have ruffled some feathers, and especially that of the opposition, talking about the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken's call to the President-elect Bola Tinubu, where he talked about the relationship between Nigeria and the U.S. and how it had been of shared interest and all of it. And the President-elect spoke about his plans, how he intends to hit the ground running, ensuring that he is unifying the country as quickly as possible and looking at how they can work together with the U.S. To address matters of insecurity and all of it. But that didn't sit well with some persons at all, talking about the opposition. The article did not hold back. He spoke immediately to say that this is demoralizing and that it is an acknowledgement of a fraudulent election, according to him.
Yeah. Well, the point there is Nigerians are even shocked at that response from the members of the opposition because, of course, there were issues at the election.
No doubt.
But you don't throw away the processes of government. You don't throw away the processes of the constitution. There must be an inauguration of a president by May 29. You can't truncate a government because the election was flawed. The issues are already in court. So the point there is that if the tribunal comes out now after the judgment to say, okay, the elections were so fraught by irregularities or whatever as the case may be, so either go back to conduct the thing again, or okay, this is not the winner, this is now the winner, or whatever. You wait for that time.
For the courts to run its course.
It looks like they are preempting what the outcome of the tribunal is going to be. So for them to say, America's Secretary of State Antony Blinken shouldn't have called. No, that's not what the thing is. The point there is the law, as it is now, recognizes a president-elect, which was legitimately declared by INEC, who has the power to conduct the election. Now, were there issues at the election? Okay, there were issues. There are complaints. Fine, they are following the procedures right now. So the point there is those are just by the side. The issue right now is that a president-elect is working towards his inauguration, preparing his programs, and he moves on. Recall that there were statements from senior U.S. officials concerning how the election went as the case may be. Of course, but that's not to say we are throwing away
and there
Nigeria
is a visa restriction.
Exactly,
on
which
those,
complements the stand of the US from the election. So the point there is that this call now is the right call because the United States understands Nigeria, their ally, over the years, and they know the workings. They know all of the metrics, all of the issues within the polity. So they know better. So it is not the sentiments that are expressed by Nigerians. No, you shouldn't have called. That's not what is doing. That is not what drives the U.S. interest. The issue there is that it is established. U.S. knows and have always stood by Nigeria when it comes to entrenching democracy. Anything that promotes the democracy of Nigeria, U.S. has always demonstrated support for it, and they will keep doing it.
Of course.
So if they are calling the president-elect to say, okay, going forward, let's talk about how to create some level of inclusion,
deepen our relationship, yes.
U.S. is working according to its interest that supports the relationship or the alliance between Nigeria and the United States. So, and that is what we expect. So the point there is that Antony Blinken has not done anything wrong. And in fact, they have done the right thing because if the tribunal comes out to say, okay, Atiku is not the winner, or
Peter
Obi is now the winner, as the case may be, of course, you don't expect the U.S. to meddle into whatever the thing is. The courts within Nigeria have come up with, and they will support whoever the court has decided to say, okay, this is now the winner, whatever the thing is. So theirs is to stand for what is legitimate as far as the law is concerned at that particular time. So that is what the thing is. So we are surprised that persons like the presidential candidate of the PDP, and in fact, they should know better when it comes to some of these things. They should even know better because they have been in this in the politics for a longer period of time.
It happened that
they understand the
a
law.
lot of persons that we expected should know better are acting like they do not know anything
Well,
at
it's
all.
just politics.
Right.
They're just playing the politics of it, throwing the sentiments into it. But the reality is that the system, as far as the law is concerned, has to be followed. Wait until a tribunal comes out, or a court of law, or appeal, or Supreme Court, whatever the thing is, wait until it comes to counter what is on ground, then we can say, oh, this is the new direction right now. But as it is right now, the law recognizes one president-elect who will be inaugurated on May 29, and the world leaders understand the dynamics of it, and are also sending their
And
congratulations.
they will be here May the 29th.
A lot of them will be here. A lot of them will be here. And as it is, they are also looking at the interest going forward, how Nigeria is going to relate with them, their interest in the new administration. So everybody, we just talked about ministers lobbying for posts in Tinubu's government. So other countries will also, come in one way or you may not call it lobby, but the point there is that it's all about the interest.
Absolutely. We'll leave the conversation here now.